Dashi friends, welcome back to the Bodja podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, especially on Spotify. Today, our special guest is Jinpa Sangmo. Jinpa Sangmo is a student at Stanford University studying computer science. Today's episode is meant for anybody who would like to know the secret formula to get into a top university, or someone who wants to start an organization, or wants to know how to run an organization. In today's episode, we talk about Jinpa Sangmo's path to Stanford. We talk about her responsibilities as co-director for Rokpa Mentorship, an organization that helps thousands of young Tibetan high schoolers get into top universities. We also talk about the importance of preserving our Tibetan culture. Jinpa Sangmo practices this through her Tibetan music videos. Today's episode is audio only. However, if you'd like some sort of video aspect, we highly recommend that you go watch Jinpa Sangmo's new Tibetan music video. Thank you so much to Jinpa Sangmo, thank you so much to Rokpa Mentorship, and thank you all for tuning in.
Welcome to Bodja Podcast.
All right. Jinpa Sangmo. Jinpa Sangmo, welcome to the Bodja Podcast. Cheers.
Okay. Cheers.
How's your Bodja this evening?
Yakta.
Yeah.
Yeah. So taganish.
So where are we? Can you just give our audience like a quick rundown of what we've been doing the past few days?
Yeah.
Like your experiences?
Tanda ganzo hotel nang lo ye. Hotel ki hall.
Yeah, hall.
Hall rera.
이직인 나. 건데.
Okay.
No worries.
We're in a hall right now, and right now we're in this hall, but essentially this is part of the hotel Di Polo, and we're here for the International Youth Forum, and in the past few days, we've been having countless workshops, speakers, panelists, and also a lot of discussions amongst ourselves and with also the panelists being involved, and all with the purpose of seeing how we can further the Tibetan advocacy work.
Yeah. And then can you talk a little bit about your experience? What's been good? What do you think could be a little bit better? Is it matching your expectation initially? Just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I think like for me, I've gone to a couple like Tibetan conferences of sorts before, or just like smaller workshops. But I did feel like in my experience in the past, like certain times I wouldn't feel like the older people are as like open-minded or they would be as supporting towards the youth. But in this conference, like right from the beginning, when they were explaining like the purpose and the reason why we're all here together and like giving context to everything, I just felt super welcomed, and I felt happy knowing that other people also might be like feeling welcomed, especially the youth, like coming into a space that's new, that's also like with like the Tibetan elders, because it's like a space to interact on both ends. Yeah.
CTA and all the donors have spent incredible amounts of money on this organization. Like everything's super prepared. It's a great place. What's been the best value of this conference, you would say?
I would say prior to this conference, I wasn't necessarily as involved in advocacy work, but I've gotten a lot more information, a lot more context into our history, and I look into like our future as well, seeing how I can be involved, seeing how I can maybe like inspire or motivate other people to be involved. So I think that's been like very meaningful, because like that's a change in my life that I wouldn't like see otherwise happening.
You're pretty humble, right? How do you balance being humble but like also like you just said inspiring others, because you're capable, you're like smart as hell, right? You're very very charismatic in general, so like how do you balance being humble and like inspirational?
you're humble too.
I'm really not.
So I feel like
if you
you
ask
answered
my
the question
if you
too.
ask my parents, they'll be like, "꼭 벌써 쉬어야 돼."
Not in my experience.
Yeah.
But like I'm not balanced or like I don't feel the need to like balance it per se. I feel like all the work I do is just because I care about it. And if it ends up becoming achievement of sorts or like something that's like successful in society, like that's good. Like that can motivate other people. Like I think that's what drives me. It's like for me, being able to do something that like can help others is something that just like makes me happy. Just because I know that I came from a place where like both my parents like don't know English, right? So like even applying to college and stuff like that, I didn't necessarily like receive as much help, and I had to like seek that help. And like having someone that could like guide me or like help me in any sort of way, whether it be emotional, like professionally, I feel like there's a lot of value in that. And like me being able to do that for anyone else is like something that I feel like I just like naturally do just because I want to do it. But I think it's also like the core values of like being a Buddhist, just like being compassionate. I think like just thinking about helping others and like thinking about what's best for others is like what allows me to be humble in a way, but still like push myself to do what I feel like are my passions and things that I really enjoy.
Before I dive a little bit deeper into that, yeah, we're talking about inspiration. So there was a lot of charts today in our presentations. So horizontally, right, peer to peer, who's been the most inspirational, and then top down, like panelist wise, who's been the most inspirational,
I
and
think,
why? Yeah.
Panelist wise, top down, I would say definitely like hearing from the political prisoner was very inspirational, also moving, but more so it hit me with a reality that I often avoided, or like it felt distant to me for a long time, just because I see videos.
What felt distance?
Like
distant?
her story, her experience, like the oppression that happens in Tibet.
Oh, I see.
Is like
it's like something far away, something
Yeah,
like it's like sort of like a myth or a story. Okay.
Like you just hear about it, right?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you see it in videos, you see like information about it, you see like a lot of data on it, but like actually having someone like in real life speak about that and like seeing her emotions, like it really like hit me. And I think that's something that I wouldn't like fully like understand if she hadn't like spoke for her panelists or for her session.
Yeah.
And
Horizontally.
horizontally, I would say that I like a lot of people essentially, because like just like having small little conversations here and there is really nice. Like hearing about people that are parts of different NGOs and like hearing about people that do different work for Tibet is very inspirational, just because it's a different experience. It's like their passion too, like, and it's nice to hear that like there's this group of Tibetan people that all care about the same thing and we're all here for the same thing. But yeah.
The session by the political prisoner, the former political prisoner, I think there's two things that I was like really like, three things that were really like heartfelt. Number one was, of course, her own story, like you just mentioned. But deeper than that, number two is the way that she puts her own suffering into context. She said that I'm actually one of the lucky ones, right? Compared to all the other prisoners, that's like the type of like shit that happens in like Tibet. Like it's like even worse, and she's like one of the lucky ones. And like the way she puts her own suffering, her own negative experience into context. And like minimize it in a way, it's truly incredible. I think. Then lastly, what's really heartfelt is like how much optimism she has for change, and the reason why she's super and so optimistic is because she has so much faith and hope in us, essentially.
I know,
right?
Yeah. At the end, she was like, "If you guys need anything from me, I will do anything."
Exactly.
And I was like, like that's.
Right.
Yeah,
she mentioned that a few times. She's like, I don't have anything, like I think she mentioned like I'm not educated or whatever, but like I'm here to help in any way possible. I'll show up any way possible, right? And sometimes showing up is if that's all you can do, right? And that's all you need sometimes, right? For me, the most like I'd say like strong or like emotion that I felt by a panelist was by Kung Kesang, specifically towards his last towards the end of his session. He said the last chapter of the Tibetan struggle has not been written yet. He said it is in your hands, the youth's hands, to write the last chapter, right? So, and even the deputy speaker today was like, before I said the youth are like the future, like Sunzadores, but she's like, no. There's youths that are ready to take responsibility now, and that's 100% true, right? What you've been doing with Rokpa, with all these other 100 kids here, what they've been doing individually, they are taking responsibility, right? And they're making the most of their opportunity, whether they're from Europe or Australia or America. One thing that I noticed is that these Europe Tibetan kids are fun as hell. They're so fun. Like, it's just so lively and energetic.
Where are you from?
Huh?
Where are you from?
I'm from DC. We're boring.
North America is not fun.
Huh? North America is not fun. Canada, kind of, but
no. Europe people, they performed a lot.
They performed a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was mostly them. And New York, maybe 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
DC, we only have 2, so.
DC 0.
DC 0. So yeah, can you talk a little bit more into like what the type of organizations that you're in, like what sort of work that entails? Let's first start off with let's say the Stanford Tibetan Union. Is that student union?
Yes. Yeah.
Then we can talk about the other one.
Yeah. So I go to school in Stanford, and right now I'm a rising junior. So for the past 2 years, I've been a member, and now for the upcoming year, I'll be the co-president. So as of right now, I haven't done like any like substantial work just because it's yet to start. But we will actually be like beginning talks in terms of planning for next year, sometime in August, so very soon. And I think we have a lot of like plans to really just like involve the community on campus, because part of that is we have an international platform in school, and it's only
What does that mean?
That means we have people from all over the world like that go to school in Stanford. So like us having that club on campus, we have to utilize it to its full potential. Like we'll use that to like let people know like what Tibet is, what its culture is, like who we are, what we do, like what our values are, our background, our history, our struggles.
I see. So your goal with the Tibetan Student Union, do you guys call it TSU or?
Yeah, TSU. Yeah.
Okay, let's go with TSU. So your vision with TSU, your goal with TSU is to raise awareness. That's the main goal. Okay.
I would say raise awareness like for people that are in school and outside of school as well, but also like within our own community, right? Like Tibetans on campus, like build that community for them, but also like Tibetans like that are nearby. So like for local organizations like Tank, which is nearby, getting involved with them, or SFT, like getting involved with them and seeing ways that we can involve the youth, both like around us and like the youth that we have on campus, working together to like build another community just for the Tibetans that are in the Bay Area.
So how many Tibetans are at Stanford at the moment?
I would say like for me, I feel
incoming
like
as well. Yeah.
Incoming, yeah. I would say for me it's like a lot. I don't know if other people think it's a lot, but it's around like 12 plus, 15 plus maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's so you were there last year as well. This is you're a rising junior.
Junior, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so your first 2 years, this is the most has been.
Sorry, like it's last year we only had 1 incoming freshman, but this year we have like 4.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying in total, like incoming Tibetans. So total Tibetans that will be on ground this fall, right? Versus compared to that previous fall and the previous fall, is this the most that the highest number of Tibetan student body in your past 3 years?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of incoming freshmen. So, yeah.
15.
I'm
That's
excited
great.
for them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to like there's what like 40,000-50,000 Tibetans in the, in the West anyways, in Europe and North America.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think
I
about.
mean, I talk to my other friends, right? In their schools, they don't have that many Tibetans too. So I'm like, okay, like we're doing pretty good, I guess. But we can always do better. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
And that's why you started Rokpa, right?
yeah.
Right. Or like you're like ahead
like,
of you're the head. You take the lead on Rokpa. So could you talk a little bit about Rokpa? I'm sure a lot of our audience has heard about Rokpa because you guys do amazing, great work. That could change a person's life and their direction. Could you talk a little bit about like what is Rokpa? Then we can go into like the work streams, your specific responsibilities, etc.
Yeah, of course. So Rokpa initially started out as Rokpa Mentorship, and that meant that our sole and only focus was the college mentorship program, right? And that really means just like matching a high schooler with a college student or alum with so that they can get help in the college application process. But in the past year, me, Tae, and Darak have like formed new leadership for Rokpa, and that means we've switched from Rokpa mentorship to Rokpa. And like even though it's just like a small wording change, there's also a lot of significance in like the way like who we are as an organization through that name change. And that means that like mentorship, yes, is one of our pillars, and that's like filling that academic excellence part of what Rokpa wants to achieve. But aside from that, we also want to like support professional development and also like cultural enrichment or like supporting the Tibetan youth in the diaspora in any way, shape, or form, whether it means like connecting to their culture, connecting to their religion, or just like finding spaces where they can connect with one another. Yeah.
That's awesome. I remember you guys had like a networking conference last year. How'd that go?
That was amazing. Yeah.
Seemed like a lot of work, right?
Yeah, no. I actually wasn't expecting like it to happen, right? Because
expecting the turnout or like
the
event?
conference itself.
The event itself.
Yeah, like because we had just started leadership.
New leadership.
Like that September or like that like August. So like it was just a couple months in, and like just in those couple months we made so many significant changes to the org itself. And like
could you explain those a little bit, like anything you could share?
Yeah, so like adding on to like the points about like not just being mentorship and like also touching upon like community building, cultural enrichment, community enrichment, but also like building our like making Rokpa sustainable in a way, and like expanding our vision to like helping the Tibetan youth in exile in any way, shape, or form. And that comes in the shape like of career chats, right? We've had career chats, we've had teach-ins about like multiple topics, we've had like Tibetan creatives reels, and that's like covering a lot of different like fields and like putting that out in the open so that Tibetan youth can know that like, hey, there's a lot of things you can do out there, and like here are some stories that like you can hear from, maybe be inspired from. Yeah,
that's awesome. So just talking about the event, why
the networking conference?
Yeah, the networking conference. Why didn't you think it was gonna happen? You mentioned a little bit,
yeah. So back to that, it would be like we started new leadership just then and there, but I think like it's hard to find a community of Tibetan people that are so dedicated, that are so passionate about just like helping the Tibetan like cause or like helping Tibetan youth. But in Rokpa, I found that, and like I honestly like wasn't expecting like them to be as passionate and motivated as they were. And because like as a group we all work so well together, and we're so like driven and like support each other in such a way that we are able to do so many things, we were able to make the networking conference happen. Like we were all in school during September to like December-ish, and the moment break hit, we were like, we have to make an in-person event happen, because this is a time when we will all be in person. So like even given all the other commitments that we have, like all the other work schedule or like school schedules that we have, we were still able to make it happen. And that's like something that I'm proud of.
Yeah, I mean, like face value, right? From what I've seen and what I've heard, like people's experience going to the conference, it was great, right? But then just could you walk us through the step-by-steps of like making like such an event happen? Because there's a lot more work than like, than at surface level, right?
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is the case as well. Could you talk a little bit about like how did you guys make this happen specifically in details, like the work behind it and like the work streams, like and not just your responsibility, but also like your other members' responsibility.
Yeah. So like when we started with like 3 new people as the new leaders, we didn't have anyone to work with, right? So from our first step was like building that team of like board members that could help us out. And from there we had different teams like established. That would be like the mentorship team, the community building team, the operations team. But once we came up with the idea of like having this in-person networking conference, although like each of the individual teams had their own initiatives going on, we actually had to like put everyone to a halt and be like, hey, like we need all hands on deck. We're gonna make this happen. Let's make it happen. And that meant like we all work on Zoom like every single week, maybe like at least once a week together. And sorry.
And that means you're not just having meetings, but you're actually like doing work on Zoom, right? Not just like not just like giving like tasks and like assigning tasks, but you're actually doing those tasks. Okay, got it.
We have a lot of discussions, right? So for directors, our meetings actually last like more than 3 hours at times.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
It's pretty long. But with like board members, we like try to be respectful of their time and commitment. So like we try to keep it to an hour. But obviously, like if things require more energy or time, like if people are willing to and they have the capacity to do so, our meetings do lengthen and we keep them around. We get the work done all through Zoom. So like everything that's happened during the networking conference, majority, 90% of it has been through Zoom. Like us talking through Zoom, us meeting through Zoom, us working in Zoom. And actually all the like actual like supply stuff, like the materials and everything for the day of, we met like a day or two before at one of our board members' house, and we all like spent the night like collecting folders, like putting papers in, making sure like the agenda made sense, like double checking everything, and like just having everyone work together at the same time. For that was really like it was like fun, like none of that process, like no part of that process felt like work to me, and I feel like that's how I hope the other people felt as well.
Got it. Then like specifically for workstream, like what do you do as a director? Like what's like your responsibilities?
Yeah, I think our core responsibility as a director is to really make sure Rokpa keeps going, right? Because right now we have our board members and our teams, and within each of our teams we have so many different initiatives, and beyond that, like we have people that we're regularly like impacting. Part of that means like our mentor group, and then we have our mentee group, and then we have people that show up to our teach-ins or like our virtual career chats, and like just like a lot of different moving parts. So like having like sustainability and making sure that like that keeps running smoothly, but like us also being the main people that take a step back, look at the organization, see what's working, see what's not working, and then being able to like move our team forward based on that analysis is like our core role. And I think it's like also our role to like make sure that everyone feels like welcomed in that space, because at the end of the day, Rokpa is like something that we all do voluntarily, but like we also want to make sure that they're all having fun doing it as well. Yeah.
You want to take a sip of your juice?
Yeah.
It's a paper straw. We're trying to be sustainable here, but that's really amazing. How many people showed up to the conference? Go ahead. Yeah, no rush. She only gave me 30 minutes though, so maybe there is a rush. I'm just kidding.
I mean, if it goes on forever. But over 100 people showed up. Yeah.
Incredible. And is it at your local Jigong?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had to coordinate everything with the Jigong. That was also like a huge part of it, just like working with other people,
other organizations.
Yeah, and then that also meant like we had to invite professionals to come, our speakers, making sure that they could come, because it was our first time. Like we had panelists in person, but we also had like half of it virtually as well, to make sure that like like as many people as possible could like share their experiences.
Got it. And then how many people are working in Rokpa right now?
Say 15 or like
15,
10 plus.
Are you guys like registered?
we're actually registering.
Okay,
So
nice.
we're like in the final steps. I think we're filing the 1023 easy file form or whatever.
Okay.
We filed out like all the other forms before that. So
Okay.
we're very close to establishing a
Okay.
nonprofit.
Oh, it's gonna be a nonprofit.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then specifically like on like as far as like revenue streams, are you guys thinking on the business side anything? Because like that's part of, even though it's nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
The most sustainable nonprofits are the ones who can like raise their own money, not just fundraising, but like through actually like maybe like selling something, selling a product, whatever it may be, right? Because like,
Yeah.
if you rely on like donors all the time, it's not sustainable. You're not self-sustaining, right? You're relying on someone else. Has there been any like talks about like that business development aspect?
For sure. I think that's been a major like discussion of ours. So right now that's like kind of what Rokpa is lacking. We don't have that like finance team set out yet. And just to publicize, we're actually looking for people to join. So if you have like any experience like with finances, with like maybe even nonprofit stuff, just like setting all the donations, but also making sure that we have like a like consistent like set of revenue coming in. We're looking for people, so please feel welcome to apply. Our link is in our Rokpa Instagram. So
Yeah, we'll link that.
yeah. Thank you so much.
What is Rokpa Instagram? The handle?
Rokpa_org.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So if people can join that, I think we're like really hoping to like grow Rokpa by having like people that may be more experienced on the finances side of it, just because like no one on board right now has that current expertise. Yeah.
What is the current expertise or like the study area of most of the Rokpa, let's say leaderships?
Actually, like I think for the most part, like we're all from like studying different things.
Okay.
Majority of us might be studying like health and like
Something STEM oriented?
STEM, yeah. But
Okay.
like I think most of them are health or like one education, one writing, one English, one math. So we're all like over the place,
Got
pretty
it.
diverse, I would say.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one aspect of Rokpa, which is one of Rokpa's mentorship's legacy thing, which is helping students with their college applications, getting into good college, right?
Yeah.
And being an advisor, a mentor. For you, could you talk about the college application for you? What was on there? How did you get into Stanford? Right? People want to know, right? Any other schools that you got into and why you chose Stanford ultimately?
Yeah. The college application process started like.
But I framed it in a way for you to tell me about your achievements as well. Okay, so don't be humble about that.
Okay. Share everything.
And failures as well.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So I want to start my story back in 2011, and that's when I came to America.
In 2011?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is that? 12 years ago?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Quick maths.
Aren't you a CS major?
Wait, but that's not like.
Did you have to take like Calc 50?
Calc 50 last like Math 51. We had to take Math 51 in our school. But yeah, came 2011.
From where?
From Nepal. I was raised in Nepal, so.
Nepal like Buddhist? No. That's not it? No? Okay.
Just trying hard.
Okay.
A for effort, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
E for effort.
Yeah. E. Ale.
Yeah.
Okay. Came from Nepal. Coming from Nepal, 2011, New York, and I would say from like a young age, like even in high school, I found education to be very important, and I was pretty like my main goal was like I really want to get into like a good college, like whatever that may be, right? I didn't even know what a good college meant, but
Back in Nepal.
No, this is like once I came here. I started second grade here.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I was pretty young. Yeah. So I would say like I am grateful that I came at a young age. Just because it allowed me to like adapt and then like build up my educational experience. But also like on the flip side of it, I did feel like a little bit more distant from like my identity and culture, but that's another story. Going back to like the application process, since education was important to me, actually one of the main reasons why it was so important to me is because both of my parents, like, they don't speak English, right? And I see them struggling and working so hard just for my success and like my future, and like same thing for like my family. And it really like when they tell me about like like their hopes and goals for me, it's something that I have for myself as well. So as like my like general high school experience would be just working as hard as possible, just doing good in school.
So what does that look like?
I think like a certain part of it is obviously like just getting the good grades or like studying for my test. But the other side of it, actually, like when I thought of like going to a good school, I didn't necessarily think of like elite like Ivies or anything. That wasn't in my mind like at the time. And even when like the college application process rolled around, I didn't actually think that I would be able to like get accepted to any of these like elite schools, right? But like one of my other goals were like, okay, a good school, but also like a school that like I don't have to pay anything for. And that's really because like I want my education to be something that helps me, but also is not a burden on my parents, right? Because like also like I don't know, it would be difficult for me to pay it down as well, like because education is expensive in America. So yeah, like so when the college application process actually rolled around, I was like panicked. I didn't know what to do at all, and like no one in my family like could really help me, and like I didn't know anyone outside that could help me. So funny story, I actually applied to like 4 different mentorship programs, and that
Like Tibetan ones or
like Rokpa was one of them, right? But I also had like non-Tibetan ones as well. So there was like matriculate and like college art and stuff like that. But essentially, I got like 4 mentors that were able to help me out, and like kind of luckily, I think this like since this happened during COVID, like my application process, I had a lot more time to like actually plan every single component out, like the essay writing portion of it, like the supplemental portion of it, the finances portion of it. And I like through the connections I had like with my mentors, they were able to like tell me about certain opportunities. And like with that, like Questbridge was like something that came up, and Questbridge is basically like a 4-year program that matches you with a school, a college, right? And with that, you're basically guaranteed like full scholarship. And that's like the application process that I went through. It's actually only eligible for like first generation and low income students. So once I went through that process, I actually like didn't think I would even get into this like Questbridge, like the program itself, because they have a college like prep summer program, which is something that I applied for and did not get into.
Got it.
So like, and I'm like, I feel like in my high school experience, like I'm not like a mathlete Olympiad, like I'm not like super like sports athlete, anything, right? Like nothing like crazy.
Well, so what were like your extracurriculars?
I like pretty much like did like I was involved in a lot of communities, which meant like different Tibetan communities, and a lot of that meant like I was doing a lot of dancing, but also like like teaching little children, or like
Teaching little children what?
So I was a
Sunday school
yeah,
teacher?
I was a volunteer for Tibetan school, but also like I did like side stuff like tutoring on my own, private tutoring.
How much did you charge?
Not that much, because like the thing is like I actually like wouldn't charge, like I didn't ask for money. It's like they would ask me to like tutor their kids, and I'd be like, yeah, of course, if I have time, and like we would set out a time. But the thing is like they would offer me the money.
Right.
It's like that Tibetan struggle of like having to be like, no.
Oh, so you mentored Tibetan kids?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's not English.
Through like friends of family.
Yeah,
okay.
relatives.
I see.
And they're like, oh, like.
Yeah, she's smart. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, she could help my kid.
And then I was like, okay, sure, I'll try. But yeah, just like I don't think I did anything like crazy. But yeah, like so coming into the college application process, applying and everything, like a lot of it was like, for me, I think of it as like almost not just luck, but what is it called, like
Faith.
no.
Fate. It was fate. It was destiny. You were destined to go to Stanford. Was that it? Is that the word you're looking for?
No. It's when you
Can you describe the word?
Yeah.
Just describe the word instead of trying to find the word.
When you can never know what's gonna happen. What's that?
Let's think about it for a second. The definition of the word is you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen.
Never know what's gonna happen.
Wait, what was the context? What's the sentence you just said?
For the college application process is something that you would never know what's gonna happen.
Unexpected.
That doesn't feel like the right word.
But that could
but
work.
It could work. Okay, so we'll move on.
Okay.
Yeah?
Unexpected.
Unexpected.
We're leaving there.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe there's a better word.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay. It's unexpected.
Unknown. Not knowing the future. Okay.
Okay.
Go on.
Got lost. I'm lost.
It's okay. The college application was unexpected.
When he says it like that, it
the
doesn't make
results
sense.
was unexpected. Like you getting into Stanford was unexpected. Surprise.
I mean, I was surprised, yeah, but I don't think that's what I was trying to explain.
I see. Okay.
Hi, man. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll actually move to the content now, right?
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So applied to Duganla. I was surprised I even got into Questbridge. From Questbridge, I applied to it's a different application process where you rank schools and you put up to 12 schools, and if you match with them, you must go to that school. You're binded to go to the school. So I did that process expecting to not get into any of the schools that I put down. I put down up to 6 schools.
What was number one?
Number one initially was Columbia, and that's because I was like, okay, it's close to my home and everything, and that would be the most ideal for me. But then a couple of days before, I actually had some doubts. I was like, if in the slight chance that I do get in, or anywhere, right? Or actually no, it was me thinking that, hey, I don't have as much of a chance to get into any of these schools, right? So let me be smart about it, calculate, and boost my chances of getting in. So I literally looked up the acceptance rates of the schools, and Stanford ended up being lower than Columbia. So I was like, okay, I don't think I will get into any of these schools, but it seems like if I'm to rank the schools, you get in through order, right? So if you don't get into the first schools, they would want to match you with the second school. So when I looked at the acceptance rate, I was like, okay, Stanford has a lower acceptance rate than Columbia, and I want to go to both schools, right? But I didn't think I was going to get into both schools. So I just switched it the day before. I was like, maybe that'll raise my chances, because it was a couple of % difference. I was like, ooh, I don't know. And next thing you know, I got accepted. But when I did get accepted, no one knew except me. My parents are not aware of anything college related. And when I told them, I was like, hey, I got into Stanford and scholarship, and they're like, wow, Times Square. They didn't know how to say Stanford. So my mom was calling it Times Square. Her English was that bad, where her pronunciation was completely flipped. And my dad was happy and cheering me on, but he didn't have an idea of what he was cheering on.
Did they not know the prestige of Stanford? Oh, okay. But Harvard they would know though, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's because the association in the Tibetan community.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. That's kind of weird though, because there's more Stanford. I feel are there more Stanford Tibetans than Harvard Tibetans? Or is it about the same?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's more Stanford Tibetans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Might be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But.
Okay, you talked a lot about your accomplishments. Oh, sorry.
I think actually I want to add something.
Yeah,
I think for people that are applying to college, it's for me, I think what really helped me get into college is definitely the essay portion. I don't think I had anything crazy outstanding in my application, but the stories I told, the things that I shared with the admission counselors, I think really showed them that yes, one, I fit with the school, but two, the school fits with me. It's about the fit on both ends, right? So with my essays, I think I was able to tell that. And actually when I was typing up my application, it was really raw. It wasn't as calculative as it could have. I feel people try to fit their essay to the prompts and like what people want to hear a lot. But when I was doing that, it was really with the mindset of like, here's just like me like answering it, me being real with like my answers. And I did that, right? Because at that point in time, like it was the early application round, right? So I was like, this is like practice for me for the regular decision round. So I can just like see how to answer this, like see like the application process itself, and then I can prepare myself like for better essays during the regular decision round. But I think like being like genuine and raw in those essays is really what like helped me get into Stanford, because I think like they saw my passions, they saw like what I was interested in, and that's like how I got into Stanford, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you so your first year was COVID, right? Was it or no? Hybrid?
COVID was like application process time.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I forget you're like 1 year younger than me. Right?
Keep forgetting. And
Have you ever gone back to like check on your application? My cousin who went to like in Stanford, she like could check like what the mission the officers were like wrote about your application. Have you done?
Yeah.
You did that?
I did that.
What did they write? Exactly what you just said, or no?
Pretty much, it's like the experiences that I had and the stories I told, right? So basically,
What did that include?
They were talking about like like the different things that I was involved in, how like they were all related to the community and like giving back to the community and like communities that I'm part of, and like that I can just put in the application and it wouldn't have any value. But like the thing is, like I mentioned it as like the activity section, but I also like would add on to it, like give context to why I did what I did, whether it be like something as small as like literally tutoring kids, or like something as small as like getting involved in Tibetan dancing and stuff like that, and like using that as like the background to like the future that I want to have, which is like continuing to give back to my community. But like I also brought in like computer science and stuff, because at that point in time I was already interested in like software engineering, and like I wanted to see like as much of an impact as possible in my community. And like for me at that point in time, I saw a huge potential in computer science and like doing that. So I wrote about like the like
I don't know, the quantum loop, the quantum entanglement.
The quantum entanglement of
What'd you write about?
I heard about the
like maybe like the internal conflict of being like Tibetan and American. I don't know.
oh wait, actually, quantum entanglement. This laugh. Sorry, I have to cough.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You're a little bit sick?
Little bit.
Okay.
I've been coughing like the entire day. So.
Okay. Did it start today or like since yesterday?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since late night or like throughout the day?
Throughout the day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you feel like sick otherwise though? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Like no runny nose or anything?
No, it's literally just like cough.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Are you scared?
No, I'm not scared. No,
It's okay to be scared.
I'm not scared. I'm perfectly confident in my immune system.
It's
Yeah,
good then.
yeah.
Yeah, but if you're not, it's okay.
No, I'm perfectly confident.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So quantum entanglement, you wrote about the quantum entanglement? Okay, go on. This is a fun episode. I'm not gonna lie. It started off professional.
You're talking to you.
It's not me.
Huh?
It's you.
No, you talked about quantum entanglement.
No, it's you.
What did I do?
You're making me unprofessional and making me comfortable, I guess.
No.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Yeah, because I coughed.
Yeah, you did this.
Yeah, let's hear.
No, you did this with your hands.
No, because you're supposed to come up with a word for it.
And then you came up with the word quantum entanglement.
Allah.
We're Tibetan American.
This is why he runs Punjab. His vocabulary is beyond my understanding.
I don't run Bodja.
Oh, but you are like the MC.
Yeah. I'm the host, co-host.
The host. There
The
you go.
co-host.
See, vocab.
The co-host.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
Go on where? Where would you want me to go on?
Explain this, please.
Okay. Oh, computer science and like my future goals
Well,
in terms of getting involved with the community. Yeah.
So
That was the
what-
quantum entanglement.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so similar to what I said, Tibetan American,
Yeah.
you being involved in your Tibetan community while having
Yeah.
this new modern day knowledge.
Yeah.
Is exactly what I meant. I'm just kidding.
Is it? yeah.
So, what were those goals? Like specifically, you have to be a little bit more specific. You can't be like just I'm gonna help my community with computer science. Like, what specifically did you write?
At that point, it was pretty vague, but I was talking about like I think like I'd mixed in my past experience of like how I grew up in like Nepal, right? And there like technology is very limited, right? And how like even like a small TV.
Yes, TV.
No, it's called it's called something different. The box TV.
Okay, let's call it box TV for now.
Yeah. They would run out of like power on multiple days and stuff like that. So I talked about how like technology is like very behind in times, like in certain aspects of the world, and that's not something that like people like really focus on like in the future, right? They're just focused on like building the next like Apple, the next like Google, like Amazon, and like that leaves behind like this entire community that like can not even have like the basic technology requirements or like things that like could help them with their day-to-day life.
And everything is a compounding effect, right?
Yeah.
Like the technology like grows at an exponential rate or like develops at exponential rate, right? So like people are getting left behind. There's even more catch up for them to do, right? Okay, that's cool. So you talked a lot about your accomplishments, right? Amazing, super inspiring, and I truly mean that. What everything you've accomplished at Bodja, like sorry, not at Bodja. One day.
He's involving me in
One day. One day, recruiting right now.
Yeah.
Putting it in your head.
Are you recording?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you recording?
I'm recruiting you right now.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see.
Sorry, but like all the great work you do at Rokpa, like honestly inspires me at Bodja and inspires, I'm sure, other Bodja members as well. And I think I'm sure it inspires the other like groups as well. There's like groups like Sunza, and so many other new groups out there. But started by young Tibetans. And we have of course we have VTAG, right? We have VTAG, which is great. Because we have VTAG now.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah. And now we have like a more solidified VTAG.
Yeah, because we came up with those slides and everything. Yeah, which is great. I think we worked really well during.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where that leads. Like VTAG.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to go into that? Let's first do your challenges and go into VTAG a little bit.
Challenges in.
Oh, sorry, not challenges. Your failures.
Failures.
What are your failures?
My failures. Like, are you talking about in the realm of college applications, or what? Like, what kind of failures and like?
Anything.
Anything?
Yeah, any sort of failure that you've overcome, that you think you learn something from them, and you think that I can learn something from them, or like your audience or our audience can learn something from them. If you think that hard, that means you haven't failed too much.
I'm not sure. No. I'm thinking about like in what categories like I could fail in.
Any categories,
But, like, I'm trying
just
to
choose one. Choose one failure.
One failure.
Well, what is like the failure nearest to your heart? Right. That means that it could be in the most the biggest failure, right? Or it could be like a small failure, but you learned so much from that. If that makes sense.
Do you want to give me an example of your own life, maybe?
I think I have a lot of failures, like a few big ones, but then always I think I make mistakes pretty much every single day.
I mean, everyone does, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I have bad habits. I'm trying to work on those. For example, I do love my family. I truly do. Like, they don't think I do, right? But I show love to them in a different way than like they show love to me. For example, my Amna shows love to me through like food, right? Through like making sure like the conditions are met. For example, let's say like trying to keep the house clean, or trying to keep the kitchen clean, or trying, of course, give us like yummy food, right? Making sure the pantry is always filled with food, the refrigerator is always filled with food, ready to eat for us, right? That's the way she shows love, right? For me, the way I show love is me being a little bit interested in Buddhism. I try to teach her that a little bit. I'm like, Amna, you pray every single night and every single morning. Put 5 minutes of meditation in there, right? Listen to 5 minutes of Gyalramcha's teachings, and like actually try one word at a time. Try to understand His Holiness's teachings, right? One word at a time. You learn a sentence, then you learn a paragraph. You understand a paragraph, then you after a while you understand 5 minutes of the teaching, then the whole hour. It's incredible. Technology is exponential, so is knowledge is exponential, because everything, if you understand one word in the sentence, then there's context clues that you understand more and more and more, right? There's more context in the entire paragraph that you can understand the paragraph better, right? So that's the way I try to show my mom love. I try to try to help her improve as a person, as a mother. So those are the type of things that I do. But of course, that's difficult. That's challenging, right? You're trying to, I would not say change someone, but like try to like as a child, I am trying to put my mother in a better direction, right? And of course, there's some ego involved. There's a strong dynamic, right? But I don't give up, right? I try, right? Because that's the way I show love. I don't show love through like, man, I hate mowing the lawn.
You hate the what?
Mowing the lawn.
Oh.
I hate
you have
mowing.
to do that in DC?
Yeah. In Virginia, yeah. Yeah, I have to mow the lawn. I don't like mowing the lawn. But if I mowed the lawn on time, that's the way that she would feel loved. Like, he's helping out in the house, right?
Yeah.
But for me, like, that's the way I show love, right? And the one thing is, like, it's kind of bad, but like, I put like Gyalramcha. I put Gyalramcha first. I put my purpose first, my why first, over family, right? For most people, family's first, right? And then, I'm not saying that in itself is a mistake, right? But then not giving them enough attention or helping them out enough is a mistake, is a failure that I'm trying to work on. I'm trying to be able to do everything, not just be a person that can just serve and just work on my goal, being a workaholic, whatever it may be. I want to be able to work extremely hard, but as well as take care of the people around me, right? So be able to do both. If you look at any world leader, right? I'm not comparing to myself to these world leaders, but I'm just like, that's what I aspire to be. Their impact is what I aspire to have one day, right? For example, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi. Incredible, immense impact for society and the world at large. However, the relationships with their child have never been good, or their family have never been good. Right. If you look at Nelson Mandela's story, of MLK's story, or even Gandhi's story, the relationship with their family is not that good, right? So that's something I would say. I don't want to say they failed to do, because I am in no position to critique them in any way, right? But then I see that in myself. Like I want to be as focused as possible, and you will be more focused if you, let's say, renounce your family in a sense, right? Because that's what monks do. Right, they try to renounce. That's what Sangye Chomden did, right? He left his family, his wife, his son, and then went out in like the forest to meditate with yogis and meditate on his own. Right, you're a lot more focused. That is true, right? It is an obstacle that you have to overcome if you have family or other responsibilities, right? Just on like a resource basis, you only have 168 hours per week, right? Like, of course, a lot of that time's going to go to your family, and of course, energy, right? So yeah, that's like one example of a failure that I am continuing to trying to work on. Being able to take care of all the people around me without me feeling tired or overwhelmed. Trying to change anytime I have a perspective, like I hate lawn mowing, trying to change that perspective. Right? Maybe like something that's better for my. That something's it's okay. Something that's better for my nature, suitable for my nature is like, okay, this it might be over the top. Like me mowing the lawn is an act of service, right? Me seeing like that, because when I am in a pursuit of an act of service, or whether or not the outcome is positive or not, when I'm in that pursuit is when I'm the most fulfilled and happy, right? So like maybe trying to change my perspective on that, right? But it's not just it's not just a snap, it's not just a button. So you have to work on it. So that's a example of my failure. There's many more.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Not for sure as in you're a failure, but yeah, everyone. No, I do agree that like even I have a lot of failures, like many failures.
Yeah.
But I think I just want to like comment real quick on like things you said. I feel like you touched on a lot of like important parts of like how to balance things in life, right? Like in terms of like you have family, but you also like have like your like other things that you want to do, and then like balancing that could like make you fail in one aspect that you don't necessarily want to fail in. So like in the same respect, I think like my failure comes into the idea of like kind of like putting my feet everywhere, like my hand everywhere. So I like want to do a lot of different things, and like for me I think like sometimes I like question like quality versus quantity, right? Like do I just want to focus like solely on one thing, just like have that be like my focus in life, or like do I want to be like doing this and that and that and that, but also like managing like family and friends and all that. And I think that's like something that a lot of people would probably go through. Like life is about like balancing priorities. Like you have to know like what comes first, what comes second to you, and that's why like everyone has a different experience and like perspective in life, and like I don't know, like it makes you unique, right? But in the same respect, like you having those different priorities can bring you like certain obstacles that you like may or may not want to be facing, right? I mean, actually, no one wants to face obstacles. But
I want
like,
to face obstacles. Yeah, because like it's when through I face like true suffering in my life, right, or true obstacles is where I've learned the most sincerely. Like I lived a year and a half in India. For me, right, I'm naturally a person that has a lot of emotions inside of myself, right? I'm passionate, and that goes both ways, right? If I'm feeling sad, then I feel really sad. If I'm happy, I feel really happy. If I feel like sense of purpose, I feel a deep sense of purpose. If I'm feeling empty, I feel really empty, right? So when I was in India, it was hard. So it was really hard for me. So those 2 years, right, year and a half, 2 years, felt like 7-8 years, right? Because being away from my pala and amma from such a young age, right? And then they didn't tell me; they just dropped me off. So it was a shock, right? How do you explain to a 6-year-old that you're going to leave them, right? But looking back, that is one of the most important decisions that they have made for me. It's one of the most decisions that I'm most grateful for. Really. It's like I like internally I suffered. Like everything was taken care of. I had enough food. I was warm, right? Everything. But then like that emotional, psychological aspect, then I feel kind of because you're lacking your parents' warmth and love, right? So but then those 2 years, I think, had an incredible impact on who I am as a person. And for the most part, I am proud of the person that I am. I think, of course, you can't learn too much Tibetan or Buddhism in 2 years, but then there's that imprint left upon you, right? I came back and always involved in the Tibetan community, and my Tibetan identity is something I'm super proud of, right? It's a culture and identity that's based on compassion and helping others, right? Not just helping others, but helping every single being. We're not hurting them, right? If it's an ant, you don't just like step on it, right? You try to take a napkin or try to take a piece of paper and try to move it away. I've never seen that in any other culture than ours, right? Yeah. That's incredible. So I'm truly proud of that. And, it's because of that obstacle and that challenge that I am a kind person overall. I think there's sometimes where I might be mean, or where I'm weak, I would say, right? But for most part, it's because of that obstacle and challenge. So to challenge what you just said, I do love challenges. I do love obstacles. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. You learn from mistakes. I think that's definitely something valuable that you're bringing up. And then in terms of like your experience in India, the 2 years. I can only imagine like what you feel, just because like even me going to college, like it's 6 hours flight away, and like I don't know, like every day like, I do get scared. Like my parents are far away, they're old, and like I'm like fearful of the day, like, you know, like I come back, they're not there, and I'm like, did I make the wrong choice of being so far away? Because like I do want to be there, like in person, to help them out as much as I can, because they've helped me out all my life. Yeah, I don't even, I can't imagine what you went through, like being separate with them from them, like for that entire 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, during those 2 years, it was difficult, right? But then, like, right now, I'm perfectly fine. There's not an ounce of, or at least I don't think there's an ounce of trauma or whatever, right? Or scarring, right? Because, like, it's exactly what the panelists said before, like the political prisoner. It's like, my suffering is nothing compared to other. I was surrounded by freaking Tibetan refugee kids. Like, their stories are incredible but scary at the same time. Like, the type of things that they have had to go through, where like some of them had frostbites, and like their like toes they couldn't move, everything like that. Like, I saw that visually. I downloaded it, I processed it, right? But then I don't think I truly understood it at the time. But then I definitely think about that, like, as much as possible nowadays, because anytime I have like a challenge or whatever, I'm like, Sudup, you're fortunate as hell, right? You have so many opportunities, right? Of course, don't waste it. But then I'll think about like all these kids, right? Your suffering means nothing, you know? So I try to demean my own suffering in a way, right?
I have the same exact mindset. Like, me and my experience, like whatever problems I face, I know for a fact that this is like absolutely nothing compared to like the experiences of like so many other people that go through so much worse, right? And something that I do really value is opportunities. Like, the fact that we have opportunities here in America, it's not something that exists like maybe in India, but like more so even like in Tibet, you know, like
absolutely.
There's oppression, there's no like freedom there. Like, you can't express yourself, you can't express your own identity, and that's like as basic as it gets, right? And like just like knowing that, being aware of that, like I can't like be not grateful for the opportunities I have, right? And
then some people might say like that should be a given, right? Those type of opportunities should be ubiquitous around the world, right? But just because it's ubiquitous does not mean that you should take it for granted or should not value it, right? But yeah, just to pivot a little bit, since we're over time for sure. There is a time there. Don't look at the time.
I can't see it. I'm more worried about you.
Why?
You have a flight tomorrow.
I'm fine. I can sleep on the flight. Yeah. One thing I notice here is that I think
Sleep. You think?
I think that me being here in India, I'm a lot more like less anxious, less stressed, less tense. Therefore, I have to sleep less. Like, this entire week, I've been only averaging like 5 hours. But we're in like RD or like in DC, I would have to sleep like 7 hours, right? It's only an hour difference, but that's something I noticed, and it's the same amount of energy. Maybe it's because it's passive here, maybe, right? Because you're just like intaking information rather than producing it. Maybe that's one thing. But then in the morning, like, you know, as far as grogginess or like you feel like there's a lack of sleep, exact same level as I would, you know, me sleeping 5-6 hours versus 7 hours in America. That's something I noticed.
For me, the difference like between America and here is that like the environment like completely changes me and like how I feel. I don't know, it's just like so dreamy here. Like,
dreamy?
Yeah.
Even when it's raining all the time?
It's so nice. Literally, like last year I came to the Belagoppi area. This year I came here, and it's like we haven't gone much like outside as much just because like the conference is like taking up most of our day. But still, like, I don't know, I think it's like for me the idea of like being surrounded by other Tibetans, like being in an area like with close proximity with Tibetans and having that community is just like something that I just feel. And then like I think it's also the fact that like it's more like country vibes, green, nature, all that. That's nice.
Got it. Quickly.
Keeps me at ease. Sorry.
No worries. To quickly pivot, in the beginning you talked about the cultural aspect, right? How you know, it's different from Nepal, right? America's different from Nepal. Could you talk about how you've tried to stay intact with your Tibetan culture or whatever culture that may be for you, right? Because my segue into that is your music.
Okay. I actually like did a lot of like dancing and stuff in Nepal, like as like when you go to these like Tibetan schools, or it was like a boarding school that was like half Nepali, half Tibetan. So like some of the instruction
What was
was
it called?
Sonzen Bukuri Boarding High School.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
You've heard, right?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the bigger ones, right?
You haven't heard of it.
I think I've heard of Sonzen Gampo, whatever, yeah.
I hope you've heard of something
Kind of like Sonzen Gampo school. Okay. Yeah.
But basically, like, I think I expanded that, like, touch with my culture, like, in terms of dancing and everything, in Tibetan school. And that was, like, my first, like, experience with the Tibetan community here in America. And just, like, going to Tibetan school on Sunday was, like, something that made me feel at home. Because when you go to these...
You look forward to it?
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Because a lot of kids that don't look forward to Tibetan Sunday school.
I look forward to it because for me it's like I came from Nepal. Like I had a lot of Tibetan friends. Like I enjoyed speaking in Tibetan and stuff like that. But like I come to America, go to school. Like everyone's gonna speak English there. Obviously, there's no one Tibetan there, and like they all have like different backgrounds, and that's beautiful. It's like diverse, But I don't have that connection. Like I can't share something with someone, like my experiences, like my identity with someone. And that's something that Tibetan school offered. It's like just like you see another Tenzin, like you see another like Tibetan. You just talk to them like it's just like the little things that really just like made my experience when I was younger. And I think like another aspect of it definitely was like the dance, the singing part of it. I would always be the one that like would stay afterwards, like they have like a set time for dancing,
yeah.
But I'd be like dancing in the corner by myself, like reviewing the moves like so hard, like like practicing the notes again and again. I'm not like dummy or anything, but like the singing, the lyrics and everything, just because like I don't know, like I really enjoyed it, and I just wanted to make sure like I got everything down. I enjoyed like teaching other people as well. So that was my like experience in Tibetan school. Once Tibetan school finished though, there was like a gap in time where I was like, I'm floating. I don't know what to do, right? Because now I don't have that connection to like that Tibetan community, because like from Tibetan school I was like more involved with like the events and like volunteering and everything. But after that I was like, okay, like what's my role now? Like where do I belong? And so that like gave me my decision to like just volunteer, like teach little kids, right? But that still like took away the part of like being connected to the arts, right? And that's still something that I was passionate about. So then, like during a period of time, I actually started like something called Yamdo Arts or something.
What is it called?
Yamdo Arts.
Yamdo?
Yamdo.
Yamdo?
Yamdo.
Yamdo
like arts, right? And that was like, it's not like super official, like it was just like for a year or so. Like I got a group of Tibetan people, and then we just like danced at different events and stuff like that. Very unofficial. It was just like informal, like okay, we get together, we practice dance, we practice singing, and then we perform, right? I coordinated all of that, so that's something that I was able to do in my free time. And I think like just like doing that like really connects me to my Tibetan identity and something I enjoy. So like I don't know, segue into the music video, I guess, right? It's something that I continue to do. Like I want to keep myself involved in the arts and like learn more and like practice it more.
Could you explain the music video?
Yeah, so last year I went to Belagopi and
Belagopi, India. Yeah. Because our audience might not know where Belagopi is. Yeah.
So Belagopi, India, and then I like I didn't have many like performing opportunities at that point. So like I was like, why not just do something myself? Like I before that I used to make like YouTube videos anyways, like past like.
There, or where do we find them?
On my YouTube channel.
You have a YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
where do you think I posted the music video? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So I posted just like random.
So wait, what is it? Just for the tag? If you type in Jinpa Sangmo?
Yeah, I think it should show up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would just have like goshe covers or like mostly goshe covers or like old performances that I just like uploaded on YouTube, mostly for my parents to see because they love watching it on TV like again and again and
They
again.
like watching you on TV? So you did it for your parents?
The YouTube channel, yeah, because like they come home and like they watch the TV, right? So if like, and they're like, sometimes they want to see my old performances, and like we have a Comcast, so like like usually YouTube is the best way to like just put it there. And so then I was like, okay, like, let me just like, instead of having to do it again and again and like connect everything, I would just like put it in YouTube, and then they could just watch it on their own, right? Like however many times they wanted to. And that's how I really started like just posting stuff. And then when I came to India, I was like, why not do something official here? Like I had time, and like I was really out there.
Did you plan something ahead or no?
It was like
A thought.
it was a thought. And then I didn't think it was going to be possible, like, because it's all like, I always imagined myself making a music video, right? I was like, wow, that'd be amazing.
That'd be so cool. That looks so cool.
Right? Like, how do you do that, right?
Yeah, how do you do that?
How do you do that? Like, and then like I told my dad, I was like, you know, like, you tell me you'll support me in every single way possible, I want to make a music video. And I was just saying that, right? Because I don't like, he doesn't know how to make a music video, I don't know how to make a music video. So then I was like, you know, like, maybe you should ask like Sangmo, which is like like ex-Tibetan artist, and she's like made music videos before about like how to make it and stuff like that. And he actually went ahead and did it, right? And from there, like, even though that like conversation happened, I still didn't expect it to like to actually go through. And then like, thing is, she was like, you know, like, send like forward like a sample like song with like the melody and the lyrics set out, and then I'll like connect you to like this audio studio and stuff like that, and like they'll make the music portion of it. You just think of like the lyrics and like the melody of it, right? And then like my dad and I, like, we were just scrambling. We worked together, and then we made like the song together. Like I was like, okay, I want a song that's like really focused on like the identity, like, you know, like what it means to be a Tibetan. So they're just like small little parts of like, oh, like ngai payu, like, you know, like yakta singe da jungda inde yore, like, it's an animal. So like I think it's a female version of a yak or some other female or like, I don't know, it's an animal. Yeah, got it. Maybe something I don't know too well, but yeah, like there would be like mentions of samba and stuff like that, and then like the religion and everything. Like, so like the overall song like touched on many different aspects of like just like the Tibetan culture, and that's something that like I worked with my dad to make. And from there, like when I came to like Belagopi, right, I had the music and everything, right, but like now it's like making the music video, right, and I didn't know how to do that either. So I just went on like Instagram and stuff like that. I contacted someone, and like that had experience with like music videos, and same thing with like getting the dancers and everything. It was just a lot of contacting people here and there, like figuring out like what to do, when to do it. And I had a lot of support from like Dora, who was like the person I was staying with at the time, and her uncle, who was like connected to the TCB community. And from there, like I was able to like make the music video work out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When did you release it? What was it called?
5 months ago, actually.
5 months ago? It was only 5 months ago?
Only 5 months ago. So I made them like the actual stuff in the summer.
Yeah.
But like, I just waited forever to actually post it. Yeah.
So what's it called?
Ngai payu.
Ngai payu.
Ngai payu.
Ngai payu.
Yeah. Ngai.
And how many views does it have on YouTube right now?
61.
61,000.
Yeah, 61,000.
You couldn't just say 60,000. 61,000. Okay. Yeah. And one bad comment.
One bad comment. I'm keeping track.
Yeah. Is it on Spotify as well?
Oh no, I just have to upload it on Spotify. But
why haven't you upload on Spotify? It's easier, right? I mean, it's easier to listen. No?
I actually don't know the process too well, so I was just like, I have it on YouTube. Okay. Maybe I'll upload it.
Do you not use Spotify?
I do.
So YouTube is, I mean, Spotify is easier than YouTube to listen, right?
No, we're about to upload.
Oh, to upload.
Yeah, I don't know that process at all.
You can just GPT it. No?
I could, yeah.
You're a CS major at Stanford. You can figure out.
CS doesn't have anything to do with uploading on Spotify.
It's tech related. There's some overlap.
Then you could say anything is tech related.
Yes, everything is tech related. This body is like
technology, right?
Yeah, the most robust technology. It is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which part?
All of it.
How?
What do you mean how? You should watch the next episode. The Duma meditation video with Rinpoche. I told you about the fire thing, right? The fire meditation. Yeah.
That's technology too?
Define technology.
I thought you were talking about CS major though.
But you said everything's technology, right?
Okay, but
Then I
we were in
agreed.
with context. It was
I
talking about
agreed.
CS.
But you said everything's technology. You took it out of context, and I agreed with you.
About the out of context.
That
We have to put it in context. When we're having a conversation, it's in context.
okay. Okay. Let's be specific. I said that it's technology related. How is GPT? Spotify. How is Spotify related? How is Spotify related to technology? That's the question you asked, right? Sorry. How is Spotify related to CS? That's the question you asked. And I said it's technology, right? Then you answered by saying everything. It's all technology. Everything's technology, right? Then I said. Then I agreed with you. I agreed with that statement, the out of context statement, because we're specifically talking about like software or like computer technology, right?
Yeah.
Then I agreed with you. Then you said, then you disagreed with my agreeing, right? Agreement, sorry. With my agreement. You disagreed with my agreement by asking me to give an example, right? And I gave you an example, which is the Tumo meditation. You're using your body, which is a technology, right?
Yeah.
Then you're like, how so, right? And you know what you know the basics of Tumo. It's like using your body to create heat and fire, right? And then you're like, how's that technology? Then I was like, okay, it's technology. Then I was like, I asked you for the definition of technology.
You know, you said the same thing again and again. You're like looping.
No, I didn't. How did I? Okay, let's take it back.
No, you don't need to take it back.
Okay.
You've been taking it back.
And no, I haven't.
Yeah, you have.
Okay.
You've been looping around. Yeah. You acknowledge that? You acknowledge it.
I'll look at the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's rewind.
Yeah, I'll look at it recording later.
You
Yeah.
can kind of sing. Did you just go back to this and say that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you have.
I said. Okay, I said. You first said there's difficulty. Wait. You first said okay.
Let's not recap what happened. Let's break down the points of disagreements. Right. The points of disagreement is that in context versus out of context. Because in context, what I said makes sense. Out of context, what you said makes sense.
No, out of context, what you made, your disagreement. What was out of context? You're disagreeing by saying everything's technology.
It's in context.
How's that in context?
No, we have to put this conversation into context about what we're talking about right now.
You're saying okay. Oh, I see. You're saying me comparing or me creating the link between Spotify and CS is out of context.
No.
Then what are you talking about? What's out of context? So,
everything's technology, right? That's the statement that we're disagreeing on.
No, I'm agreeing with that statement.
No, we are disagreeing on whether that's true or not, right?
No, we're both agreeing. You say that. Didn't you?
I said everything's technology.
As sarcastically?
Right?
That's more sarcastic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're disagreeing with that. Okay, got it.
But technology, yes. If it's just technology out of context, you're right, yes. If it's in context, when you're talking about CS, then no. Yeah?
I think we should end the podcast here.
You got it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. Yeah. We'll figure it out later. Let's figure it out later, okay? Alright. Jinpa, this was really fun. I appreciate you coming on the Bodja podcast. Do you have like a we always end Bodja episodes with a quote from His Holiness or something, a message that he's put out. What's your favorite quote or message from His Holiness?
Oh, I think it's something like if you can't do anything to help other people, at least like don't harm them. It's something that I go by, and I think everyone should go by. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Bye.